Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler, and you've arrived at lesson 15 in our Tangled Ribbon Flower series. Thank you so much for being with me today. It is wonderful to talk to you again. And our tangle that we're going to be using today is the Zentangle Original Pokeroot. We're also going to quickly show you Poke Leaf, and you are welcome to use whatever you want, of course, on our petal today. But I am going to use Pokeroot. Okay, so let's step this out for you and get started. All right, so I wanted to show you the reason that I've chosen to do Poke Leaf as one of my organic tangles in this flower. And I'm going to step it out on this Inktense prepared piece of Arches watercolor paper, hot press watercolor paper. And I'm going to be using my brown PN to do this so that you guys have a decent view of this. So most of you know these tangles, Poke Leaf and Pokeroot, and they're both formed the same way and made with just a slight bit of difference. You start these, let me draw in a string here. I know what you're thinking, and you would be right. I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so in Pokeroot or Poke Leaf, you just want to pick a corner, okay, in your string, and start with two little lines that are slightly curved, a little bit of a C shape. Then you're going to cap these off with this cute little sort of mushroom cap thing, right? And then all you have to do is draw an orb from midpoint down on one side around to midpoint down on the other side. Let me zoom in. Okay, so this is Pokeroot. And to continue, you can change the angle of your little stalk. Yeah. I like to overlap mine a lot by drawing behind, such as I did here. And you just add them. Do Maria Thomas's little thing that she started doing with these in one of the project packs not too far back. That was 9, I think. So this is basically Pokeroot. Let's put a couple more on here. This is a lot more room usually than you have with this. I mean room between the elements. So what you usually have are these little spots like here. And you're just going to ink those in. And you can add more elements by drawing behind. And you can make these large or small. And this is how you draw Pokeroot behind, as we say in Zentangle. And what we mean by that is just drawing it so that it looks like one element is going behind another one, okay? And then you can orb here and ink, or you can just ink them. These are what we call interstices, which is basically the holes that come in between the elements of a tangle are called interstices. I just love that word. It's just fun to say. So, all right. So this is basically Pokeroot. Now, poke leaf, if you don't know, is formed exactly the same way with a little cap. And then instead of making this orb round, we just come up to a point. Yes, and that is poke leaf. You can intersperse them with each other, or you can choose one or the other, whatever you like. This is one of the first 102 original tangles by Zentangle. Now, I like both of these. Now, let me show you quickly why I chose these. Number one, since we're using a background with a lot of gradient colors, and I've been using that to enhance, I've been using colored pencils to enhance that. And so, you know, you can do the same thing. If I can get this to work. This is my lemon yellow. I probably should have my, and it's not very sharp either. It's probably not a good example. No, what I need is a red. All right, this will work. Crimson Lake in the Prismacolor line. So now what you can do is come in here to Great Effect with your pencil and really bump the color up. You know, you can use it for shading. And in Pokeroot, you can do the same thing. You know, you can shade it very closely to an orb, as you would an orb, to sort of give it that rounded effect. You can use a colored pencil to, you know, add some shading, contouring. Now, in this case, I would use my blending solution or my alcohol blender, either one. Let's see if that would work. Now I'm curious. You know, this Tombow blender that we've been talking about so much. I'm curious if it will, well, look at that. Well, look at that. Look at that, guys. So this Tombow N00 water base marker blender will dissolve the wax in the colored pencil. Well, that, and it does it very easily too. But again, I have that issue with it will also pick up my ink color if I'm not really careful. Well, isn't this an interesting experiment to do? Okay, well, this is an example of why I'm choosing to use this technique, and I may or may not use this in the final project. I may use my blending solution because I know what to expect from that, and I don't like surprises. All right, so let's get on to the final project. And really, I want us to just enjoy drawing in an organic pattern and just relaxing, okay? I think I'm going to put this in over here. Whoops, sorry. Let me zoom back out. I'm going to put this Pokeroot right here, okay? Or I may use poke leaf. I'm still not sure. And I am going to switch to my 01 in brown now. Now the question is, what directionality do I want to use here? My instinct is to start here and move this way. and then I will turn my direction to coming up from this direction up here, and I will continue to change that direction as it makes sense. And so, yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's just get started and see if we can enjoy some chill time. I will put some music on. I may chatter in your ears a little bit, but let's just enjoy getting some Zen flow going, okay? Sometimes I like to do some rounding on those. And I'm going to make these fairly big. For one reason, as I don't have to draw as many that way. And we'll see what happens. Okay, this is a large area, so I'm going to put in some orbs. And in the smaller areas, I won't bother with that. And right now, I'm going to take some deep breaths and slow things down. And remember that the point of this is not to rush. The point is to relax, okay? So right now, I want you guys to relax. Let your cares and worries drift away and just become part of every stroke of the pen. Focus on inking the interstices, all the little spots that don't have anything in. And if you come to a place where you can't fit anything in, you can drop an orb in there, or you can do whatever you want. All right. I'm going to really stick one in here. And go ahead and ink this. And then we'll put a faux top on here. I should have left a little bit here on this side, but that's okay. You can tell I am changing direction slightly on each one of these, just to give it a little bit of visual interest. I have learned to not go for so much symmetry. I've learned to, when my instincts lead me one direction, to sometimes turn the other direction. Sometimes that works out pretty well, sometimes not. But I learn something each time, so. I'm going to have a lot of orbs in here. That's going to make this look really dynamic. I'm going to enjoy this, I think. I needed something very chilled out today. I don't know, I'll leave that for now. I was thinking of inking it. I don't want to put too many orbs in here, but I guess it would be all right if I did. So I'm sort of starting in each corner and then pointing them towards the middle. And of course, as always, this is your art. You do as you wish on yours. If you have your own way of drawing Pokeroot or poke leaf, either way. And of course, you can use what you want in here, which is awesome. A tiny bit of control in an otherwise chaotic world is a nice thing. At least for me, since I do not have much control right now over anything. Mari is growing so fast I can't keep up with it. He went from having about 20 pairs of jeans to having 2. because he's gotten so big he can't wear the other ones anymore. So yeah, in football, wow, was that an expensive sport? $400 just for his practice equipment. That doesn't include the uniform fees and the league fees and all of that stuff. I guess by the end, I will have dropped about $600 for this one season alone. And I want him to play whatever sport he wants. And holy cow. I mean, holy cow. How are low-income parents supposed to do that? I do not know. I do not know. We have been very blessed to have a lot of people help us when we have needed it over the years. And so I thank the Lord above for his blessings. This is actually really relaxing. This is enough. It's not quite as easy to draw for me as filling with flux, which is, of course, y'all know my favorite one. My favorite fill pattern. I think I'll just ink all of this. It's not optimal, but I can do it. So how are you guys? In my state now, masks are mandatory to enter places. Except for restaurants, there's, I guess, a bit of wiggle room for them, which makes no sense. I would say that is the most dangerous place of contact that you can have, are restaurants and certainly bars, although starting to rethink my whole stance on alcohol these days. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not. Yeah, but it's a thought, isn't it? We are also going to be starting school in 2 weeks, and my little boy's going to be 11 years old on the 30th. 11, baby. I can't believe it. Said you're going to be 11 in 2 weeks. I can't believe it. That little wide-eyed 7-year-old has grown up. He is now a smart-mouthed teenager. You know, we didn't start being teenagers until we were like 12. He's got to start at 9. He's been doing this since 9. All right, I've got to find a better angle for this. All right, let's do this. Now, the more width we have on the ribbon, the more careful we can be with our little embellishing. And again, you don't have to do it my way. You can do it however you like. I'm definitely going to have an easier time. Whoa, Cindy. Don't know what's going on here. I'm not going to have an easier time with that. Let's see what we can do about that. Let's do this. Like this. There. That's not too bad. All right. And okay. Well, guys, I don't know what's going on with me. Having trouble staying where I need to be here. Maybe it's the angle, I don't know. As long as you guys can see it. I can stand a bit of wobbling, I guess. Tuck this little guy in. I'm going to have some more 01s in brown here. So I'm approaching these orbs exactly like I do when I do my flux fill. And that is to make the largest one I can in the space available, and then go from there. Now you can see on these, I'm going to be able to have a lot of fun with color around here. And this pattern allows the color from the background to shine through. So I really think I'm going to like this when I get done, hopefully, if I can stop drawing over stuff that I've already drawn. Yeah, because it's me, and that's just going to happen. And the larger these get, the more care I'm going to take. Now, let's do a partial one here. Like that. Tuck an orb in there and ink around it. And then ink in this little spot. Et voila! So just take your time, enjoy the tangling, try to relax, try to let your worries and cares float away for this time together. Just let it go. We just want to enjoy making something pretty. We don't have an agenda beyond making something pretty and relaxing while we do it. And I mean, what more do you want? We'll find out, won't we? I'm just rounding right there just a little bit and putting that little Maria Thomas touch on there. I always like things that embellish in a very subtle but effective way, so that's why I'm using that. In these small ones, it's not really possible to do much more than hint. And by having the inking done around them, then we get a lot of drama in a very simple way. So instead of just being filled with some fluffy, flowery stuff, we've got a lot more going on in intensity. All right, so okay. All right, just a little bit more and we will be finished. Now on this part, we are just looking for a hint of what's going on here, okay? So we're going to go ahead and put an orb shape in here. I'm going to ink around that where we can see it. And what we want to do is not worry about perfection here. What we want to do is just give the impression that something is going on here, even though it's not, okay? Slow down and take your time, which is a message to me. All right, so now on this part, I'm going to continue. I think I'll come up from here. And just a touch of the extras. Just like this. And there you go. And we'll have one coming from here. This will be going around. Orb and ink. And as you can see, we're not doing anything specific here, but giving the impression that this is continuing on, okay? All right, so I'm going to save this over part for last and just do these. Now, as I'm going here directionally, these are going to turn as the ribbon curls and come up over, okay? So their direction is going to change from going this way to going this way, all right? And if this is going up, when this curls around again, right here, this is going to be going again in this direction. So this is what I want to leave the impression of here. So what I'm gonna do is put this in here. You can't see the top, you can just see a little bit of that. Let's just put this in. Well, that didn't get close enough, did it? All right, let's ink this. And let's do something wild and crazy here and just make this look orb-like. Okay. And then we won't worry about the rest of this. We'll just pretend that's the middle of another one and we don't need to worry about it. Okay. Now, as this ribbon curls around, this is again going to point this direction, right? So here on this one, we're going to hint at movement from here. So let's help that by doing something that looks familiar to the eye. And let's just ink this. And we've got almost a full one there, sort of a partially full one. Now I'm just playing with words, aren't I? Okay, now remember, shading is going to make a lot of difference in the differentiation between these layers, all right? So now last, I'm going to put my direction going back up, okay? So I think I will do a partial top here. Okay. And let's do one pointing this way. Right. And then okay. Now, this is a lot of, the overlapping can be a little bit daunting, a little bit scary, but I don't want you to worry. If this makes you uncomfortable, then do it more like we did down here, which is just one and then the other and just one, and you don't have to overlap them if you don't want to, okay? I just know that the more overlap you have, the more dynamic your tangling is going to look. And so that's really something to think about. Practice overlapping things, you know, and really with overlapping, the more the better. You want to avoid just barely overlapping, and do, this would be, for example, a better overlap than this one, although this one works. Whoops. I'm not going to worry about that one. Here we go. Almost done. Just a few more. Okay, now I'm going to make these larger. Cindy, that doesn't mean the stalks have to be longer. I'm not very good with the round stuff, but you know, this is still going to work very well for me. Hopefully I'm still in frame. The tendency to change, whoa, hello Simba. The tendency to change the angle up is fierce inside me, and so I apologize for that. I get, it's one of the hard things about tangling under a camera this way and worrying about whether or not others can see is it really interrupts my zen. And so I get lost in the tangling sometimes, and I forget to pay attention to the logistics of it all. So I do apologize for that. It's a challenge. Let's round that off a little bit. There we go. That looks better. And let's do a big one here. Remember, start off with a large orb. And then if you want more orbs, just work your way down. If not, you can just ink in the rest. Okay. All right. And I think a couple more and we'll be finished. All right, and now the shorter you make your little stalks, stems, the less room you're going to have to fill, okay? The shorter the little stalks are, the less room in between them you're going to have. So that's just something to think about as you're crafting yours. Okay, all right. So that is all for the inking, unless I have made an error somewhere, which is, you know, always possible with me. Okay, now I'm going to grab my colored pencil collection. I think I'm going to start with my Parma Violet. This is a Prismacolor Verithin Parma Violet. And I'm going to go into my purple spots first and see what I can do. All right. Let's see. Now this shading with color is going to be pretty subtle. It's not going to stand out a lot like in some of the others. At least that's not my intention right now. I'm just going to do some contouring with these. All right. I'm going to darken around the base and then up one side, and then maybe put some light right on the edge here, and then leave my rim light down there along the edge. Yes, that'll work. How does this look on camera? No way. I can't tell, but I don't know if you can see this really subtle shading right here. I've tried to keep it very light, and then I've left a little tiny rim of light down there. Now, you don't have to go into these as in depth as I do, but that said, I think you're going to find if you spend a little extra time on your poke root or your poke leaf with the contouring and shading, you are going to love your results, okay? So, yeah, let's do a couple more. Let's see. And of course, I will come in here with my blue violet pencil and then my black Verithin to really enhance some of this, okay? Okay, I think I'll do this one too. And by shading to one side and then gently across the top, a larger spot, but very lightweight. And then leaving your little rim light down by the bottom if I ever do that. And remember, I can come back in with my Mono Zero eraser and fix that little line up quite a bit. Let's darken this a little bit. And the rest of that will be blended out. All right, let's do that. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. As we have done very similarly to what we have done in the others. And I'm just going to go back and forth with pencils, different colors and such, and see what we come out with. And I'm going to speed this up for you guys, for my sake and for yours. All right, I'll see you on the other side. Change colors here. Let's do these two. Okay, let's shift to blue here. Do we want the light blue or the dark blue? Green down here. Let's do some green. You can handle this exactly the same way. I might want to find a darker green to help enhance that. I may just use my black. And again, I'm just using the pencil to contour this shape a little bit. And do we have a spot for green up here? Not really. All right, let's move to blue. Okay, for shading, we are going to follow the same principles on this that we did over here on this dancer one. And so I'm going to start by trying to differentiate between my layers. Now, we've got 4 layers on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so again, shading will be problematic somewhat. I'm going to start with my largest element, which goes around from the bottom all the way to the top, and really darken right in the area where it overlaps. I'm also going to add a lot of darker color in this well area, this dark area right here, this dip. I'm going to put it underneath here. Okay, and I'm really going to darken in here. And strangely enough, this area right here is going to have the most highlight of all of these areas. So also we're going to want to shade right here in the front, as this would probably cast a shadow coming down, so we want to darken this. Okay, now I also want to add a little bit on top, sort of enhance that sort of going back behind sort of feeling. All right, so now let's find the black Verithin and see if we can do some finishing up here. This pattern is going to let us do some highlighting with our white charcoal or white Prisma or whatever you've got in white. And also dots of jelly roll for a little orbs. And you might notice that I colored those in with colored pencils, and I did that intentionally because once we dot our little bit of jelly roll in there, it's going to work. It's going to have a great effect. Starting right here, I'm going to really deepen this shadow. Okay, let's blend this. Okay, that works pretty well. All right, and I'm also going to have shading right here. I also want to put a lot of dark right in here. Now you might be asking yourself, why did we spend so much time working with color in here if we were just going to dark over it? And I'll just say, get used to it. This is part of it. Doesn't mean you want to shortchange your effects, though. You never know what will be important in the end. All right, now let's blend some of this out. And I can come back in here with a graphite pencil and still really intensify the shading. I can also go back over it with my Verithin, my black Verithin, or my blue one. In fact, my blue violet, to sort of, I don't know, sort of ease that black out again. I'll just subtly blend that, I think, a little bit better. Here. Yeah, that makes a big difference. What do you guys think? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good for now. And of course, at the end, when we get finished with everything, I'll be going through and doing touch-ups. But for now, let's get my white charcoal pencil out. And I'm going to go through on the top part of each of these larger orbs. And I'm just going to put in just a little bit of white. And it's very subtle. But it'll smooth out the rough edges and sort of give these a shiny look. And again, I can come back in with my colored pencil and and make the colors more vibrant. And I saw somebody in chat say that they used a fixative so they don't worry about things rubbing off, and that's absolutely right. You want a workable fixative. And I have some made by Krylon. I rarely use it. It requires me to go outside and face the heat, and that is tough, although it dries really fast out there. And I don't like to leave my art outdoor. The smell is kind of crazy. All right. But you can see what a big difference this is making, right? And once we blend this all out. Now remember, don't put this over the subtle shading that you did in the middle. You want to put this between the dark edge and that subtle shading, right? That's where your highlight is. Assuming that I got these in the right place. And this white charcoal can also sort of smooth out some rough spots if you want. I like the rough spots, but I always love the sort of polished look you get from using white charcoal. That one didn't have a highlight at all, and now it does. All right. Perk all these up a little bit. All right. I'm going to give that one a little bit of love and leave the rest alone. Okay, so pretty cool and dynamic. And again, I will come back in with my blue violet and do a little bit of extra shading around between the elements and such. But I can do that on my own. And right now I'm going to get out my Jelly Roll 10. And what I'm going to do is in all of these little orbs where I colored, I'm going to dot some, let me zoom here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to come in and dot a highlight on here, and it's going to, on the larger orbs, it's going to sort of, now you want to put it on the same side, unlike what I just did. If these are very small, and you just put a little dot. But on these larger ones, like this one, that's not really large, you want to put a nice rounded highlight and sort of swish it around till you get it smooth. And then leave the rest of the orb will be whatever color we put in there. And trust me, it will work out and look nice. And all you have to do is dot in a nice rounded highlight around the same spot on each one. And of course, if they're teeny tiny like this one, you don't need to worry about it. But just a tiny bit will change these from flat to 3D. And between the color you put down there with colored pencil and the Jelly Roll, you don't have to do much more as far as shading those. I will probably use my black Verithin on a few of them. I don't like that. All right, Simba.
I don't know what he's barking at though.
Me neither. Here we go. And see, the larger it is, the larger the area of the highlight, but you want to try to get it on there really smoothly. Like this. Whoops. Now, one thing you may not know about Jelly Roll is that it is water soluble. And so if you get some spots like, say, here, where I don't feel like this highlight went on really well, and I want to change it up, I can come through here with my aqua brush and lift most of that out between the water and a paper towel, and then go in there again. So don't despair if you get it in the wrong place. That can also be fixed. Some of these smaller ones, all you're going to get is the highlight, and that's okay. Now I'm just going to tap a hint of a highlight on these that are sort of in the shadow. And you don't want to do too much with those, but you can do a little bit. All right, now let's do these up top where we don't have to worry about that kind of thing. Don't forget to clean off your jelly roll every now and then, so you have a nice, neat, you're able to make nice, neat little circles instead of having that extra ink on there that makes it sort of fuzzy like this one. And I'll come through here with my ink pen and fix that here in a minute. There. Et voila. So, again, it's hard for me to tell by where I'm sitting in the light, but I think this is going to look pretty awesome. Let me zoom out and see where we're at here. There. Very nice. So, one last petal. What will the tangle be? We'll find out in the next lesson, in the last, well, not the last lesson, in the next lesson. We are still going to do something with the center of this, and I still have not decided just yet what, but we're going to come up with something fun, okay? All right, guys, thank you so much for being with me today. I'm going to see you in the next lesson. Don't forget, if you've missed any, feel free to go back and watch them. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, I encourage you to do so. All right, thank you so much, and I'm going to see you soon.